Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining this creative little session. I'm going to be working in my junk journal and sharing a fun little project, actually sharing a couple of goodies with you also. Okay, everything looks like we're in view and good to go. So I hope everyone is doing well. This is Easter weekend and I know lots of people will be doing family activities, enjoying the wrapping up spring break. We are here in upstate New York. And so if you're watching replay, make sure you let me know in the comments that you're watching the replay. My name is Carrie, for those that don't know me, and I am the maker and creative with Steel Roots Market. And I am joining in the Junk Journal Jubilee community, sharing a little freebie and some creative inspiration this morning. You might be able to get a little time in to do some junk journals. So I thought this would be a good time. So I have created a printable for today, the project that I'm going to be using in creating, and I will link that in the description for you to go over and download this. It is just a couple of background images I thought that you could use, a couple little embellishments, and then a basic tag template. You can print this out and create with it, or print it out and use it as a template when you might have some background papers and you want to create your own tags. So that's why I added that. And then, you know, you can just use a hole punch if you want to create the center little bits. And then I have some more that I'm going to talk about in a little bit and where you can get those in a moment. But I wanted to jump in by showing you a little bit. For those that have been following know I created this junk journal, kind of like a mixed media art journal, a while ago for some spring creative sessions. And it is a book that I thrifted and altered. So I do have a video on how I did this, you know, using paints and stamps and just embellishing it up. That is over a while back on my YouTube. And I use this journal to just let some creativity kind of get me that creative outlet that I sometimes need to get working on some other projects. I also use it for journaling, and it's kind of like an anything go. So I'm going to go ahead and show you some of the things that I've done in here. I'm going to do my project, and we can just kind of chat. So with this book, I'm going to show you. It's a good visual. This is how it started out, just an old book that once I made sure it was not anything that we would ever read or nobody wanted. I always try to see if anybody wants the books before I go. And a lot of times I've picked them up or they've been given to me because they're going into the trash. So it's definitely a book that nobody wants anymore. I take them and then use them in creative projects. That's how this one started out. And the reason why I'm showing you that is because it leads to today's project. So you may have seen I sometimes tear out pages in the book to make room for my journaling and spreads, because sometimes, well, as you can see how chunky this is getting already, and there's still a lot of room and work to be done. So in one of the last videos I shared how, and it might be in the junk journal community, I'm not sure. This was the project we did in the Junk Journal Jubilee. But sometimes when I'm doing spreads, I will paint on the pages and use gesso. So the pages get very thick, stiff. And so what I will do is sometimes tear out pages in spots just to give it more room, so it will lay a little bit better. I also, another tip I probably shared before, is sometimes glue several pages together to give them a little bit more structure, so when I am gessoing or painting in my books, it will hold up better. But when you start putting all these little bits and pieces into the book, it gets super thick, chunky. This was some stenciling I did in the last junk journaling Jubilee class workshop. So, you know, they get a little thick and hard, you know, you want to make room. So this was a paper that I coffee dyed, and it's a thick paper, folded and glued in, so it's getting pretty thick, chunky. So that leads me to today's project. As you pull out your papers, you want to save them for upcoming projects. So I thought I would use some of these book pages in a simple tag, but this could totally be done in any type of layout or spread in your current journals or any of your projects. So the printable that I created for today's project is just on one sheet. Again, it has the tag template on there. You can print it out, create right on here, or use this as a template to trace. I gave a couple of different backgrounds that you could use. You could create mini tags. You could use this in your journals to tear and distress and do all the fun things. And then just a couple little elements to add on for fun in case you're, you know, kind of running low. I know that all of us in this community are in different stages and levels, so you might not have big, like I can't even pick up piles and scraps on your desk of bits and bobs to add to your junk journal, so I wanted to just add a few elements in. But if you have that big stash ready to go, that's what you want to pull from, because that's what's part of this type of junk journaling that I like to work on. So we're going to be using this today along with our book pages. And then I wanted to mention, if you are on my email list, you have been getting some freebie downloads. I like to give some freebie downloads for different content, different things. And so I might, when I was going through, I thought maybe there was an image here. I thought this was part of a download that I gave, and it is still available. I'm going to add the link to the description and what it is called in case you're not looking for it. It's a spring cottage refresh checklist little packet. And what it is a little checklist that I tried to inspire and come up. And it does have some journal prompts on there. And like a little April bucket list, just some fun things to encourage some spring refreshing in our homes and in our lives. And then I also include a little sheet of printables to use in your home or journals or however you would like. And then a little bit before that, I had done an Easter one. The Easter one I don't believe is live, but if it's something you want, message me and I would gladly send it out. But the best way to get these is to be on my email list, because I send it to the email list and I do try to add them into the descriptions of my YouTube videos, but that is the best way to get these. So I have these little elements I thought would be good to work with in my journal. Shoot. So let me move that out of the way. And I am going to go ahead and just go ahead and use this tag. Actually, I had one that I had already just cut out because I was getting prepared. So I have one. That's the fun thing about getting printables. You can print them as many times as you want and use them over and over. So I'm just going to use this. This is not a thick, it's pretty much plain copy paper, but that's okay to create on because it's going to go into my journal. And I'm just going to use a regular glue stick. And I am going to start picking some papers here. And these are old. And they're from different books and different things. And I'm going to tear a couple of strips. And for the project that I really want to do, I know that I want like about 1-inch strips. And this is fine, this jagged edge. And I'm going to set these 2 strips off to the side because I'm going to save them for a little bit for another project. This one. And then I want to do this. And now this is great when I want you to just tear, no thinking. Then I like to get a scrap piece of paper and lay down for a workstation. I'm just going to use my cutting mat because I forgot to grab one. I could just use this, I guess. This will work. Make sure you're in screen. So there we go. This paper is just down to kind of protect that in case I want to do some other work. Blending tool. If you don't have a blending tool, you could grab a makeup sponge that they have at the dollar store. Grab, if you have some extra kitchen sponges that haven't been used, grab those, cut them up, and use those are a great tip. But basically just come in and I'm going to give this little piece that I tore some distressing. And it's easy peasy today. This is just to get me. I have a bunch of projects that I'm working on for work for the Steel Roots Market. And I have some other tasks that I need to do as far as getting ready for Easter dinner and things. And just wasn't feeling it. But I said I really need to do those. And so this is a great activity to kind of just jump in and get those creative juices flowing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to collage. I'm just going to collage, no wrong or right reason. I'm going to do some tearing and collage a background onto this tag. And this is great. You can use your download, your printable. If you like nice, clean, straight edges, cut them out. But I prefer torn edges. And I'm not worried about this little design for the hole. You can just hole punch it at the end, or just add a ribbon even. It's kind of fun. So I am going to just kind of collage on here, just using simple glue. A glue stick works best for these types of papers, I find. And then another thing I'd like to do, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, is I will come off the paper, and if it was an issue, you would just turn it over and trim it up if you needed a nice clean tag shape. I don't, as of right now. And I don't worry that the letters are going other ways because we're going to be layering. These are just some base pieces to get on there and get me some background. So I come in, do some blending. Now normally, I think I'm going to put this in because I kind of want it to be in the background. Normally, if you're doing this, it wouldn't take this long because I'm talking so much. You would just come in, have fun, and start crafting. Yeah, so I want to kind of lay that down into the background. Little pop of color for the spring. And then we'll start to layer our collage pieces on top here. Make sure you can see good. Okay. And then I got to get this pink in there. I love this pink. And I'm okay with the white background today for what I'm doing because it's going to be layered. But if that bothered you, you could come in with some paint. You could come in with ink. You could come in with, if you have like glimmer mist, any of those types of things, you could come in. But that is totally fine with me. I kind of like it. And I did not shade that. I'm going to let it be nice, fresh, and springy looking. So we still have our little tab. You could layer that over that. But I think I'm going to do, you could come in and go like this if you wanted. That would be really cute. I think I am going to layer this first. Trim that up around the back, how I was just mentioning. And kind of angle this. And for what I'm doing, I don't need to cover that. There. So now you can come in and just follow your shape of your part of your tag and trim it off. And I'm going to go ahead and trim this off. Okay. So we've just collaged, simple, easy peasy, fun collage, using up scraps, using up book pages. You could come in and do more layers if you wanted. You could come in and there's so many fun things I like to share about doing. You could come in and put some gesso over here and like do some watercolors and paints and stamping on there, or my favorite, stenciling. So now we are going to get some fun little embellishments to work on. And this is where I'm pulling in those printables from that Cottage. I love this. You could totally like tear that and put that into your journal, or just put it into your journal as is. I've done that before with printables. You could put that, you could make a little hinge and journal on the back if you wanted to do some journaling. So that's an idea. But so I was going to use, I love this script, I was thinking, and I love this darling little image. And that's why I was saying I wasn't worried so much about that. There's also these. You could fussy cut those if you wanted to and layer them on. So there's some fun ideas that you could use with that printable into your junk journals for that. So I know that I really want to use this bird and maybe some of the purple florals in that spring. So I'm going to leave that there. And what I'm going to do is go ahead and do a quick fussy cut. And I might, when I go to edit this, I might fast forward this a little bit so that you're not having to sit the whole time in the video so long. And actually, I'm just going to go like that. that design is so pretty too. For layering, you could rip that and put that into your little project. Okay, so as you saw, I did a quick fussy cut around here, and now just to finish it off, I come in, give it gentle shading, and it just pops and finishes it off. The same with the bird. Now the bird image you saw, once I started cutting, there was a little teeny tiny key. I wasn't going to mess with that, so I clipped that right out. I have left her little feet on for now, but if you don't want to mess with that, you certainly could clip them off. And then I'm going to use this element as layering. You could save that. That's a pretty little design. You certainly could save that if you wanted. And then, of course, this little piece, and I still have this little fun script. So I'm kind of going to just set those off to the side for now and kind of think in my head how I want to lay it. But the technique that I really wanted to feature with you guys today is to go ahead and grab back those two strips that we kind of tore, had some rough edges here, about 1 inch or so. And what I want to do is create a ruffle out of using my my book pages. And so to do that, there's lots of ways you can do this, but I am going to just do a simple one. And so I start off by giving it a fold in half, kind of so that I kind of can see, you know, a line to kind of guide me. And then sometimes, you know, I like to crinkle my paper, so I just give it a little crinkle and smooth it out. And that just gave it some beautiful texture. And now all I'm going to do is, you can do accordion if you want, but I do that just to kind of get some creases in. I don't make it a perfect accordion. I just kind of give some folds. And it doesn't have to be perfect. I just kind of go through and give some folds so that, because now what I'm going to do, and the reason why I did two was I wasn't sure how long. If you want it thinner, this is where you can come in and make the strip a little thinner, which mine is kind of thick. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just tear a little bit off the edge so it's just a little bit thinner. There we go. That's going to look better. So I just am going to like gather it like you would be making a ribbon and pretending that you sewed it right down. Now, some people do actually go to the sewing machine and sew this down. I'm not today. That's why I have that little, when we had folded it in half here, to kind of give me an idea. I'm going to let it kind of play off the paper a little bit. And now I'm coming in and cinching and giving it a ruffle and kind of going in and making it look like a faux ruffle. And you can come here and squish this up a little bit, but it gives it a little bit of a ruffly edge. I just love that. I thought that's really cute. These will be cute if you don't want to put them into your junk journal to just kind of stand up and prop up. I if you follow me, know I do that quite a bit. You can just go to town using your junk journal. So this was the other one that we had clipped. I'm going to go ahead and just take a little bit off that already because I know it's a little bit thick. And we will fold it in half. The other thing you could do is you could go ahead and like add some ink to it if you wanted. I think my ink pad needs to be, there it goes. I'm going to give it a little crinkle again to give it some texture. Not much. Kind of fold it according, give it a little bit of a head start just to get some folds in. And then go ahead and start gluing and cinching it up just like and you can decide how far down you want this to go. I am going to leave mine edge like that, and I'm going to come in with my pinking shears and kind of like do like a faux bottom here, like a V cut, just to make it look like a little banner. Okay, now, so that is the technique I wanted to show. Now we're going to come in and add our little bits of elements on top. I want to add this little floral in. I'm going to ink it. And actually, I'm going to put it like so. So I'm just kind of getting my placements. Kind of love those flowers. I'm not crazy about this vase, so I'm going to tear it off. So I'm just playing around with placement. I could go like that. Would be kind of cute. So I like that. I know I like that. I'm going to go ahead and glue that down. Committing to this. There we go. And then maybe committing to putting those little floral pieces there and kind of having the little bird like that. What do you think? Oh, I think I love that. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put my florals down. Vintage, shabby, and cute. This little bird might need to be popped up off my tag, I'm thinking. So I have some of these little foam elements. Put one back here. If you want it a little higher, you can double them up if you want. If you don't have these, that's fine. You can get creative and find other little bits. This is going to look so cute when we put the hole in the top, put a pretty ribbon. Now we can finish it off. I do have this cute little strip I could to tie that color, but this is really a light print. I'm obviously not going to fussy cut that out today, but I will tear and ink and give it a crinkle, soften it up. Let's ink it and see how it's looking. So I don't know about you, but my creative juices are flowing now. I'm having fun. I don't want to stop, but I do have to because I have to get ready for some Easter celebrations. So that's a little bit thicker than I wanted. I know. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to fold it in half. And I'm going to cut. Let's do it this way so I can see. I don't want to cut. I'm going to cut like that. Like that. Gotta make it look a little bit better. Let's tear it up a little bit. Wasn't quite what I envisioned. I was thinking of a ribbon banner. Maybe kind of just keep tearing a little bit. Yeah, that'll work. So some of these printables are they're going to be located in 2 different spots. So the printable that I gave, oh, we have these elements. So I'm not going to do it today right now because I got to wrap up, but you could cut this out, add that to the top. That would add some color to it. If you don't like the color, ink it, paint it, do something like that, or just trace it and make your own. This is a cute little embellishment. And the tags. I love tags and labels. I have in my next, where are they? In my next little creative kit that I have coming out, I have bunches of little labels and tags to add on to some projects. See, you got to have little bits and pieces like this to be able to add for layering. Makes it fun. So there's our little finished tag, my technique of using those scrap papers of book pages that we tear out of our current journals. We're going to be able to tuck that in here. Oh, that would be cute. And then be able to, I'll add some ribbons. So I hope you guys enjoyed that fun project. Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you are joining here and you're not a member currently of the Junk Journal community, Junk Journal Jubilee community, it is a group on Facebook where us creatives that love and passionate about paper crafting and junk journaling share some projects, and we would love to have you join us over there. I do have the 2 printables that I will link into the description for you to get, but the best way to get them is by joining my email list. So you can get all the shop updates. I often have special offers, and I try to share some creative inspiration for you. But thank you so much for watching, and if you use these printables and you create something, please share in the group. You're welcome to share on my page, but share in the group and give me a tag, and I will be able to check that out. I would love to see what you create with your book pages and your bits and bobs and all the fun things that you collect for junk journaling. So I hope you have a wonderful Easter, a very peaceful crafting time, and I thank you for watching.